Way.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Are you doing good?
How are you?
Are you feeling good? What's going on with you?
Unmute us.
Unmute us.
So we're showing up on everybody's thing, saying Todd and Kira are live right now.
We're live right now.
In the bottom corner. And then we're going, come here. Come on. Come here. Come on. Let's do this. Come on. Let's talk.
Hair down day, Ginger says. What? Hair down. Hair up. Hair down. Next, we'll work on our numbers and shapes. Well, everybody started popping on. Hello, everyone. Say hi to us. Say hi to us.
Hello. Say hi. Hello.
Yeah.
Say hi. Hello. Won't you tell me your name?
Hello. I love you. Won't you tell me your name? So, Marianne.
Good morning, Marianne. Good morning,
Ginger.
Marianne.
Holly
Bird. What a treat.
Woohoo! Holly Bird. Congratulations, girlfriend. Thank you for getting us your chapter. I know you've got a lot going on. I'm super, super proud of you, honey.
A little birdie told me she'd be submitting a chapter, and it was her.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure she's heard that joke so many times.
Probably. All the time. So we're going to talk. So I put up something for us to get started with. I said the victim, attacker, innocence dance. And then in my description, I said dancing all by myself. Dancing by myself.
Isn't it like perpetrator, accuser, perpetuator? There's like a
cycle.
Yeah, isn't there like
they might be
well-known kind of a term? Like,
sure. I don't know what it is.
Never mind.
A victim attacker cycle? I don't know. Maybe.
Like
hi,
the abuser, the victim, and then the victim becomes the abuser and the cycle continues kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah. Whatever.
Snake needs tail. And the way you get out of it is innocence.
Innocence. I'm innocent.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Hi,
you're innocent and you're good.
You're innocent.
You're good.
You're innocent. You're good.
You're innocent. You're good. I'm gonna listen to that on repeat.
What? Be innocent. You're good.
I'm good. I'm innocent. I'm good. How do we want to get started on that? Do we want to get started on that? Is that a
innocence?
Topic we want to talk about?
Sure.
Oh boy.
Well, I can talk about it.
Okay.
Like
Janica.
Janica Tellez. Hello,
How you
Janica.
doing?
What a treat. Well, all judgment is self-judgment for one. So if you are a highly critical person, you're most likely going to be critical of yourself first, and then depending on how much you have integrated with that or not, you may be projecting criticism. Because the ego doesn't want to own its guilt. So we always project our criticism, our self-judgment outward. I mean, if we really, really just cannot stand to own it, if we have a lot of self-judgment, we will project it out as being very judgmental or critical of other people, to the point, in extreme cases, to the point to where we think that we're not in self-judgment.
Right. We're justified in the judgment that we have, because obviously look at them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you could look at it as saying, well, being better than others or not as good as others. It's all the same. It's all self-judgment. And then the amount of it being projected just depends on the person. In my case, I projected it quite a bit because that was one of my challenges, is being highly self-judgmental. But I didn't own it early on, and I was constantly projecting it. Not all the time, just when I was really in behavior or something, or really threatened or really insecure or whatever. Yes. So all judgment is self-judgment, whether you are judging someone else or judging yourself. If you think you're judging someone else, it's because you're judging yourself first and just projecting that outward. Any kind of criticism, it goes that way. So the way out of that, like a really wonderful way out of that.
Beautiful people. So happy to watch you guys. Nice shows. Yay.
All right. Glad you're watching.
Yes.
Continue. So a way out of judgment is to practice seeing, and this is course-based principles, is to practice seeing their innocence, and practice your own innocence, right? Innocence means you're not guilty. If you have no clue about this, I mean, Course in Miracles will help you to understand innocence. And if you're not, if Course is too thick, start with something like Marianne Williamson's A Return to Love. That's a street-friendly version of Course. It's very easy to understand. And then you just practice offering your brother. So I say brother, I mean brother, sister, everyone. Practice offering your brother his innocence. And if they don't give you your innocence, you claim your own innocence for yourself, So that's the way out of judgment and guilt. And it's the only way out in my experience, because my ego will find a way to make itself safe if it feels threatened. And that safety may often take, depending on your triggers and your issues and stuff, that may take the form of clinging for safety or getting approval or testing people, all kinds of microaggressions, if you will, micro behaviors that are ultimately about making yourself safe. And if you have a judgment problem, right? And I think we all do, more or less, because we're human, and that's the thing. But you may have had some conditioning in childhood that maybe you had a highly critical parent, or one or more highly critical parents, and that would probably have an effect on you being highly critical of yourself at some point in time. And then depending on how much you internalize that or project it outward or transform it, that will take the form of, low self-esteem, a lot of self-criticism, self-judgment, and then at its worst, projecting that outward and just being highly critical of other people or children or, kids, things like that, who you may feel are a reflection upon you to your parents. Kind of thing, same sex parent and kids, that happens a lot. You can dance, we can dance if we want to. You can leave this world behind because your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then we're leaving this world behind. We can go where we want to, if we don't, nobody will, because our friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, and we're gonna do something. We can dance.
Everybody safety dance.
Everybody look at your hands. So yeah, same sex, really weird. You see that a lot with hi Kim. You see that a lot with mother daughters, and how the mother feels about the daughter as a reflection of the approval the mother might be wanting to get from her mother. And you see it with men too. Men and boys. And then how the man feels in his father's eyes about his son, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
it can get a little sticky. Let's see. We've got some folks popping on, and Holly says, this is one of my favorite quotes as well. Holly, I always say your opinion of me is none of my business. It's none of my business.
Very good stuff.
I say that. I say it's none of my business often. Gingy is agreeing. Hey, Kim. So, Kim. And Jenica is saying, that's a great song, Safety Dance.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun one. I first saw that music video and I was like, this is really dumb. Because I kind of like the song.
Catchy.
Yeah. Because you kind of like the song, but it's like the song doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
But how many songs of the 80s like made no sense?
Right.
but you like him anyway, right?
Mhm.
And you watch the music video for something like the safety dance, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? Are they having a parade? Is this a circus? And I'm sure there's a real answer if I was to look it up and find,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an explanation. But here's my point. At first, you start with, this is dumb. And then after a while, you're like, this is kind of cool,
All
man.
right, it's
I
not
can
too
like it. I
bad.
can
Yeah,
dance to that.
Dance to that.
I can dance to that.
Gingy said, I'll share to my business page. Yay. Thank you so much, Ginger.
Awesome.
Please, guys, feel free to share.
Please feel free to share.
Would love that. We're just sharing some insights. You two so damn cute. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jenica. Kim, not much here. Just trying to sell a house, build a new house. That's all. Just, little things.
In your spare time.
Right. While you're not working or doing major stuff. Yeah, like living. Good work, Kim. You keep on doing your thing, girlfriend. So the way that it's kind of shown up for me is I have replayed victim patterns where, unresolved things where I was a victim in my life in certain situations, repeating themselves later in life so that I could then stand my ground, stand in my power, and hold my boundaries. That's where they've kind of, because when we have an attacker that we can't actually address from our childhood or different parts of our life for whatever reason, it could be they died, or it could be any number of things. You just cannot work out that thing with them. And another reason, many reasons not to work out issues with your attackers is we'll get into that later. But let's say you can't. What happens is that our psychology will tend to attract situations in which we are able to work through those particular issues with people who are actually safer. We'll seek out people who are safer to work through those issues with. And if we continue the same pattern, we'll keep on getting the same results. But if we do something different that's hard against the grain, that goes against our normal programming of what our normal actions are, what we normally do, we get a lot of information. And a lot of it comes from us internally, where we're like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to fall apart and shake apart. And this is very painful because I'm used to just playing the victim role, or I'm used to just falling into these old patterns and making everything nice for everyone. And so sometimes we get hit harder in certain situations because we are choosing a new direction. But what's cool about that is that it will pop us out of the situation completely once we heal it. And if we keep those things in mind, like you were talking about in the beginning, of offering them their innocence, and if they can't offer us our innocence back, claiming our innocence for ourselves, and then doing whatever it takes to, maybe resolve the relationship or issue in the relationship, or leave the relationship, that's perfectly okay too. Or situation that doesn't serve us anymore.
Right. Yeah, you'll find working with surrogates is a lot easier for any kind of issues with parent tapes and such, because you do not, and I repeat, you absolutely do not need to do forgiveness with anyone else. It is completely an internal process. Yeah. And if you do work out any issues, do it with someone who's full, who can see you on those issues. It doesn't have to be let's get in the ring and fight each other. That just inflames things, and it keeps them alive longer in your psychology.
Yeah.
As opposed to letting them be healed. So seeing your brother as whole is the same as loving him unconditionally, and that's the nature of practicing seeing someone's innocence, is seeing them whole. Not seeing them as less than or better than. And if you practice seeing them as whole, you are claiming their innocence, and you are loving them unconditionally because you're not projecting judgment. And if you're not seeing her innocence, then you're seeing something in you that needs to be forgiven. So, because it's your projection, it's all your energy. And this is 100% true. End of story. Good night, the end. So, the sooner I know if this is brand new information, it may sound kind of foreign to think that, hey, everything out there is me. But the more you take on that radical responsibility, which Course teaches, Course in Miracles, you will start to, you'll spend less time being a victim, and you'll take a level of responsibility, and you'll start transforming on a whole nother level. As opposed, things like blame just go out the window, and and you just really start leveling up in a really good way. So if I since everything out there is you, if I offer my brother his innocence, I'm offering innocence to myself, right? If I'm offering innocence to myself, I'm naturally projecting, or I should say, shining my innocence to others. And you're not going to be able to judge anyone. It's impossible to judge if you are feeling innocent, right?
Yeah.
You only project guilt. You only project judgment if you're judging yourself already. But if you're claiming your innocence, if you're feeling innocent, you're feeling chill and relaxed, accepting, then you're automatically offering innocence to other people. It's just the nature of spirit versus ego kind of thing. On the same token, if I attack my brother, then I'm attacking myself. If you're attacking anyone else in any way, shape, or form, be it overt or be it very subtle, and it's most of the time it's going to be subtle, then you're already attacking yourself if you're attacking anyone else at the same time. You can't attack someone else and not attack yourself, because you're in a self-attack by making yourself right, which is an attacking behavior, and then projecting it as a result. So practicing innocence is claiming your brother's innocence. That's claiming your own innocence. Or if it's easier, claim your innocence, and then it's a natural extension, right? Because remember, the ego projects, the Holy Spirit extends. And you know the difference with different levels of awareness, perhaps, but we all know the difference intuitively when we are extending versus projecting, right? If we're projecting, we're probably needing something. We're feeling like we're not enough, and we're needing something. We're needing praise, power, pleasure, or safety, more than likely.
Let me tell you what you did to me. Let me tell you what you should have done for me.
Right.
And let me tell you how you should have shown up differently. Those are all kind of that mantra. I think those are the only pieces of that victim mantra. And it doesn't mean necessarily that they haven't done something wrong. They haven't hurt you, or they haven't. Jenica's asking. Also, those two books, I put them in the comments. It's a Course in Miracles and A Return to Love.
Yeah.
Is that also in hurt if they've hurt you? Yeah, it's any kind of physical, emotional, spiritual, any kind of attack is an attack on themselves.
Right.
And they may have problems, they may have issues, they may have things like that, and you may have been physically hurt or abused or those kinds of things, and that's, yes, this still applies, although different levels of therapy might be needed based on what you've experienced. If somebody's been physically attacked, they might need hospitalization, they might need PTSD treatment, they might need stuff like that. Of course, that's not, but when you're in a place where you're in that healing process, looking at it and stepping back and saying, okay, what is this really? After you've gotten to a place of safety, after you have released that friendship or relationship, right? After you've taken care of yourself and your family members or your children, after you've gotten the safety that you needed to have and started the healing process, that's when we can kind of take a step back. But we're in the throes of trauma. I could not expect anyone, unless you are saint status, to be able to go, oh, you know what? I really just need to offer them their innocence while they're beating you in the head. No. Like, we gotta take this one step at a time. Sure. Can you do that? Uh-huh. But I would say that we allowed the healing process to unfold naturally, and this is one of those steps.
Yeah, and I think in general, we're not really talking about domestic violence situations. I mean, your immediate safety is a concern for, getting out of a situation, that kind of thing. But where we're generally coming from is, when we're in an attacking type of behavior, verbally, not physically, right? Or when we're how can we take responsibility for our behaviors and not project them at people, and vice versa. Like if someone hurt you, if they're in a behavior, it's just a cry for love. That's all it is. It's a cry for healing and a cry for love. Now, and if you remember from Real Love days, Jenica, if we're full, then we can offer love, right? And if we're empty, then we need to get off the battlefield with that person and walk away and get filled up and then return. And that is being loving to the relationship, not if we're talking about a relationship, as opposed to getting on the field of death and just hashing it out, because that's what feels natural. But it's not natural. What it is it's just
unresourceful.
It's just a parent tape that's running about how things go, because love equals home, right? Our programming from childhood is how we show up in relationships in our adulthood, unless we have transcended how we respond or how we react into resource-based responses. And so, and because the more you've developed with, therapy and reading and transforming, the more you have created distance between your reactions of the past and how you prefer to show up in the future. And that can be way more resourceful, way more happy. And toxic relationships just kind of go bye on their own sometimes, because you're just not needing to participate in them. Notice the word needing. You're not needing to participate in them. You're not needing to play them out. You naturally pull off those things because those old needs kind of wash away, and really those old needs are just behaviors that aren't serving you anymore.
Yeah,
I kind of glazed over that, but there's a lot to that, but just 10,000 foot view.
All right. And Jenica, yes, makes sense. She's also saying, right, I know I can't. I have to step back, not physical, emotional, and safety. Like someone you live with sells a house. I live in with my son, and
She didn't live.
Yep. And it does feel like this all reflects on me. Great thoughts. Thanks for sharing. And she put in live. Okay, let's go back to this. I have to step back, not physical, emotional, and safety. Like someone you live with sells a house. I live in with my son, and it does feel like this all reflects on me. Okay, without knowing all of the details, it's I might just kind of move in a direction here. I don't know. Let me feel through it. When somebody makes a choice, they're making that choice based off of their own programming, their own filters, their own awarenesses, their own things, their own level of emptiness or their own level of fullness, their own ability to feel loved, get loved, talk through their issues. Like they're making choices based off of their life experience. And it may not coincide with the choice that you would make for yourself. And so when we when we're in an interaction with someone who's making a choice that also affects our lives, that can feel very challenging if it is not a choice that we would naturally make. So the question becomes, okay, in what way can I either accept that person's choice and start to build my new experience around how I would like to do things differently myself, because you also get a choice, right? So what would you like to do differently? How would you like to see it differently? How would you like to interact with this person? Or is this person, is it time to let go of this person who is making choices that you would not make because they're not healthy for you, or they're not satisfying for you, or they don't match with you? We had a clinic, and this happens pretty regularly, actually. At our clinic, we had a couple of rooms, and we were doing a virtual share type of situation. Not a virtual share, but a satellite office inside an office with a lot of different people. And it was, they decided, the people who owned the building decided that they wanted to not do it that way. Not have the building be utilized in that way and have these offices. But all of our business was run out of those offices. And we did not know what the hell to do. They gave us a 30-day notice to get out. And they, and it was unceremonious. Is that the right word? And we were like, okay, we're going to be out on our ear, but we have a full book of appointments. We have lots of clients, which is great, but we have nowhere to treat them, So it was like, how do we do this? So we had to find a new office space and sign new leases and do all of that stuff. So we were connected with that other person's choice, because when we first entered into this experience, we were just following whatever best choice we had at the time. And that was our best choice. But honestly, we had grown out of that situation. We had grown out of it. And we needed to actually move along. We needed to move out of that space and grow. And so it was a good thing.
Sometimes referred
even though
to
it was
as
a scary thing.
Sometimes referred to as blessing in disguise.
That's right. So it's, I think, a helpful thing to find out what those blessings in disguise are in the situations that we find ourselves, even if they are challenging or they are difficult.
And for the record, we no longer see clients for hypnotherapy or coaching of any kind. We do certify and train hypnotherapists and provide business training to get their practices off the ground if they want a new income stream that can be very lucrative, and if they want to help people. That's why we do these lives. In fact, if you want to check us out, we're at hypnotherapyschool.net. We will train and certify you as a hypnotherapist and make you ready for business. And even if you already have a business, hypnotherapy certification is a very credible certification to add to your skill sets. Yeah. And the business training, we've had a lot of success with our business, and
we know how to deal with clinic changes, and
we've encountered a lot of issues. Yes. So just putting that out there, we are school teachers now. we don't see clients for hypnotherapy anymore.
No. So let's find the things. Find the things. And it's certainly easy to think that other people's choice says something about us. But the truth is, and I feel this strongly, that it's important for us to detach from that and say, nope, that's their choice. If Todd makes a choice that isn't necessarily in alignment with me, and somebody says, hey, why is he doing that? I'll say, it's his choice. I think in the old fashioned view of a husband and wife relationship is that, and we have utmost respect for each other and our boundaries and all that kind of stuff, financially and, business wise and that kind of thing. So we're in alignment. But if he said, yeah, I'd like to do this, I would say, okay, or if I said, I'd like to do this, he would say, okay, and if we don't defend our choices or the other person's choice to anyone else, because there are some old fashioned views where it's like, you're his wife, you need to tell him what to do, or he's your husband, he needs to, do this or that.
Keywords there is you need.
Let me tell you what you need to be doing, right?
They're telling you their opinion.
Yeah. And it's like, nope, that is not the relationship that we have. And so we can separately make our choices. And if they affect the whole family our little whole family and the dogs in a way that is, it may not be helpful, then we'll talk about it or discuss it, but ultimately, I think that's a good, for at least for us, for INFJs, is a good thing to shoot for.
Yeah. And it's very common to enter, because it's so permissible in the world to enter into relationships by default and have just a lot of societal expectations or obligations, or how you think you need to show up for each person, what the man's expected to do, what the women's expected to do. And a lot of that stuff isn't even discussed by the partners. And I think the less that's discussed, the more you're likely to run into problems later, especially when people want to make choices for themselves and the other person has something on it, because there are these unspoken expectations, for example. So it's okay to start there. There's nothing wrong with that. But the question is, do you want to end there? And how much responsibility, what kind of relationship would you like to have? Would you like to give each other the freedom to make your own choices, and express yourself, and all those things? I mean, they're just free to live your life while having a partner, as opposed to being, codependent on the partner, or having the partner feeling threatened anytime you make a choice, that kind of thing, or you feeling threatened anytime your partner makes a choice. I mean, those are opportunities for doing some work, so to get free of those things. And then the relationship can turn from a special relationship into a holy relationship the more you're practicing that unconditional love without conditions meaning ball and chain kind of stuff, right? So
do what I want you to do.
And I don't mean airy fairy, let's go out and be a hedonist and all these different things. I mean, I mean just giving your partner their freedom and encouraging them to find their self-expression, and so that they have a fulfilling life. Who wants to be in a relationship that makes you feel like you're in a jail cell, or that you're completely limited? I mean, I would have to ask, what the secondary gains might be if that kind of thing is happening. It's okay. We are all programmed to go after relationships that resemble whatever our household was, for starters. And if you and it's not necessarily what your parents taught, but it is the end result of what they modeled, is what you learn, in their emotional imprinting and such. So when you go looking for love initially, you're going to go looking for subconsciously, you're going to go looking for what you had at home, whatever home looked like for you. And it's not a conscious decision. And home that feels safe to you initially might feel like a lot of arguing with your partner. And there may be some relationships between your partner's childhood home and your childhood home, maybe. Any rate, it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish, right?
That's right.
So make choices now and say, you know what, here's how I would like it to be. And then don't get all controlling and forceful, but take it from an attitude of love and say, okay, how would I like it to be? You realize in this moment that you do have choices. You can start making new choices that are loving, not fear-based, but loving to yourself and loving to other people. And you can just blossom into new levels of energy and love and self-expression. And the more you embrace that and practice that kind of self-care, the more you're going to see the cheap drama leaving and the toxicity leaving, and things kind of fall away that really weren't serving you sometimes, all by themselves, just because you're stepping up and you're not energizing them anymore with those old energies and behaviors and things like that, you know? So really amazing things. Again, I'm glazing over here, but there's some cool things that can happen. And some things are your classroom. Some things are for you to address, and other things just go away on their own when you start consciously choosing to level up with love.
Yeah. Well said. Very good. All right. Jenica is saying, so helpful. You're so great explaining. At explaining. Perfectly said. You're right. Yes, blessings indeed. And that's a bummer. You two changed so much of my life to the positive. Thank you, Jenica.
Thank you, Jenica.
You're awesome.
We've known Jenica a long time.
Yes. And then Ginger said, the hard part is to realize it and make the changes. Hopefully others can figure it out earlier than I did. Well, everybody finds it out in their own way, in their own time, their own pace. And so it's okay for, it's okay for us to.
There's no judgment.
Yeah, it's okay for us to come to it.
There are some things
naturally.
Right.
Go ahead.
Sorry. There are some things I learned early in life that others didn't. There's some things I didn't learn till I was 40 that other people learned earlier, and I could judge myself for not learning those things sooner, but whatever, it doesn't matter. There's no judgment. Everything's perfect. Everything happens in the exact right timing for your development and growth, so we're all innocent. Everything happens perfectly. It's not possible that it couldn't be happening perfectly, no matter what you think it is.
Yeah, no matter your judgment of it.
No matter what your judgment might be, it's perfect. And it wouldn't be in your life unless you were getting something out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is a hard thing to hear.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at. It's hard. It can be very difficult at first to go, okay, well, what's going on? What am I really doing here? And I think once somebody hears it, they either hear themselves saying it to someone, and all of a sudden they go, wait a minute, that's a judgment. When I first started, oh, this is great, because when I first started learning about energy work, and I was going to a place called Avalon in Richmond, Virginia, to help heal from some traumatic physical abuse and emotional abuse from an ex. I knew psychology didn't work for me, so I was just going to see if this would. And so big kudos to that group and that family. But what happened that I never heard before, this is 20 years ago, was I said something about myself that was negative. It stuck with me. This is how important this moment was, because it only takes one moment. That I said something like, well, yeah, but I can't do that. And a lady that was sitting next to me, she says, wow, that's really limiting. That's all she said. She said, that's really limiting. And I was like,
F you, lady.
No, it made me stop. It made me stop and consider, is that limiting? What does limiting mean? Am I limiting myself? And being an introvert like I am, an INFJ, it naturally caused me to go inward and find out is what the truth was in what she was saying to me. So I was like, oh, and then I started to consciously consider all the ways in which I spoke about myself to other people or to myself about myself. Yeah. And it was just that, it was like a golden moment for me, because I was like, ding. Well, what else is limiting? What else am I doing to myself? How else am I showing up? And then I started to make lists, and just started to go, okay, well, I've said this about myself and this about myself. And I learned the difference between hearing myself speak and hearing my ego speak. So I just kept just following the flow of it without trying to withhold as much judgment as possible, and just recognize, let's consciously consider what's going on, Yeah. And that to me answers that question, Ginger. It's the hard part, is to realize it. But I think we all have these golden moments where all of a sudden something comes in and it becomes available to us. And we don't just have one, we have lots. Yeah. Go ahead.
If you, the hard part is to realize it. Well, yes and no. You just got to look for the signals. If anything in your life that you're experiencing internally or externally is causing you discomfort, that is where your realization lies, right? You start right there and you say, okay, God, source, Holy Spirit, I am my higher self. However you talk to your source self, just say, all right, Holy Spirit, for me it's Holy Spirit. Course-based. Holy Spirit, all right, I feel discomfort. Please heal my mind and correct my vision where I'm believing that I am feeling less than in this particular situation. And so help me, you will start to see changes, realize a shift. It could, and now these are miracles, but they don't necessarily blow the doors off the house right away. But you just listen for the shift in your perception, Ginger. Listen for it. It may come immediately. It may come as resistance falling away. It may come as feeling a bit lighter. It may come as a new thought when normally you're used to a certain type of thought leading you down this ugly rabbit hole that you're used to going down for yourself, kind of thing. We all know what they are for us individually. And suddenly a new thought comes in instead of going down that rabbit hole. And then you get to follow that. That's your guidance. That's the guidance. That's what's happening. That's the realization that you're looking for. So,
and I think that she's saying that she has come to these realizations, and she's saying that she hopes other people are able to come to them as well. Hopefully others can figure out earlier than I did. So she's saying that she feels like she's come to those realizations. I just wanted to clarify that.
The hard part is to realize it. Is what I was
was that okay?
To. The hard part is realizing it. Well, your life is constantly teaching you. The question is, are we embracing the opportunities that's teaching? Now, the more asleep we are, the more we push away anything that doesn't feel good, right? Mm-hmm. But if you want realizations, then embrace everything that's happening and use it as your initiation. Because if I spot it, I got it. And if it's something I don't like, then that is an opportunity to go inward, where that is your classroom. That is where the healing's happening. That is your realizations are standing right behind those discomforts and conflicts, mm-hmm. as long as we choose to go through them and to allow them and to embrace them. Now, I'm not an expert at embracing everything that happens, kind of thing. not at all.
Me either.
But I do practice having awareness and as much as possible, because I know that if I do breathe through something that's coming up, I know that there is a chance that I'll have a realization, a new insight, or I'll create distance between my reactions and my responses, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And pretty amazing stuff happens. You do start mm-hmm. to become more and more realized.
Yep. Yes. Very good. Let's see. Marianne says, still learning. So are we.
We're all learning.
We are all learning. Patricia said, I really believe that as long as you live, you will be learning. Everyone has their own pace. Absolutely. Yeah. Eileen, powerfully courageous ego work, Kira Schaefer. Thank you, darling. Had to start my journey somewhere. Ginger, I'm grateful for the lessons. Yes. Eileen says, thank you for sharing your experience. So relate. Awesome. Good.
Feels pretty good.
Feels very good. I like it.
I sure felt it. How does this feel? Does this feel good? I think it feels good to people. They're commenting.
Yeah. I woke up this morning from yesterday. That was episode 15. I was thinking about, my brain started doing all of the Shawshank Redemption quotes.
Was that yesterday we were doing that?
They just started coming up. Cats and dogs living. No, that's Ghostbusters. Cats climbing trees. 5 times 5 is 25.
I don't think that was in our show.
No, not that one. I was telling you that
you were going on.
Yep. It said like Brooks was here. So was Red. That to me, it was like a big thing.
Very quotable.
Yeah. That if you guys follow Shawshank, know that movie, which is one of your top.
One of my favorites.
Favorite.
A lot of favorites for a lot of guys, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Has friend.
Damn goddamn cats crawling up trees.
5 times 5 is 25.
Fuck this place. Hilarious scene.
Oh God, it was so good. I had some friends sent this epic to that we share things in common. Episode 2, I think. Excited for them to watch.
Oh, great.
Good. Thank you, Jenica.
Thanks, Jenica.
Appreciate you. Eileen said, feels really good and alive. My daily laughter, vitamins K and T. What's up over it? He swam through a mile of shit to come out clean on
Right,
the other
right,
side. Like I could pull apart Shawshank Redemption and find like a spiritual meaning behind every turn. Because of the amount of pain and suffering this fellow was in, being falsely accused and incarcerated for 27 years. Pressure and time is one. So if you don't know what we're talking about at all,
go watch the movie. Hopefully everyone has seen Shawshank Redemption.
I mean,
1994.
Yeah.
My favorite quote, or I should say my favorite quote that doubles as a spiritual thing to me personally is institutionalized. Well, what's institutionalized? Well, we first bring you in here, not verbatim. You're afraid of these walls or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, you get used to them. Enough time goes by, you begin to depend on them. That's institutionalized.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because I think that's how it feels with the ego when we rely on it. It's limiting, but it also boxes you in, and then we depend on it.
Yeah.
But really it's not giving us the promise of anything better. So it serves us to release it and to challenge it, to consider it at first, and then to begin dismantling it. And you're dismantling it when it rears its ugly head and you choose not to engage in it, or you choose to go hard against the grain, meaning instead of reacting in behavior, you stop and pull back and you do some breathing. Mm-hmm. You are creating separation between you and that ego, and you will realize some empowerment as a result of that, especially with practice over days, months, years. And using supplemental tools to help you learn about the nature of, ego, like Course in Miracles, for example.
Yeah. And also too, just to clarify, ego to us is not like I have a healthy ego and I get stuff done and I'm confident and I get out there and I perform properly. That's or I'm smarmy and overconfident, and these are not the same thing as what we're talking about when we talk about the ego. The ego is something insidious, and it's deep, and it's been with us since we were born, and it's something that has been trying to take us out since we've been born, and it gets us all the way to the end, and then it goes, whoops! I didn't realize I was going to go with you when you die. So I'm going to start trying to turn this engine around and or turn this car around, and it's like it's dizzying. Many times, and we consider it in a lot of different ways, like the monkey mind or the inner critic or things like that, to help you understand the difference of what the ego is in different types of vocabulary.
Yeah, the ego it's a spiritual ego. It's anything that's fear, guilt, shame-based mechanism that resides in the human mind, the human condition, and everybody has it. There's a collective ego, individual ego, and ego is just the nickname for the condition of the split mind that we have as humans.
The separation
from
our peace,
right? Which is why we walk around feeling like we're crazy some days and we're in alignment other days. It depends, where that ego has taken root in our lives and how much we have allowed it to nest in our minds, how much we've enabled it to happen. But then once we take responsibility, we start minimizing its nest and it make it harder for it to do it. And you're making progress with your ego if you start taking steps and it rears its ugly head, because it's saying, whoa, I'm not cool with this. Let me trigger this for you and see if I can get you to crawl back into the shadow.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you got it. Kenny is on. Just hopped on. What's up?
What's up, Kenny?
Wow. Phew.
This has been action-packed.
It has been
action-packed.
There's been lots of good stuff here.
Yeah.
Really core, fundamental ideas around.
Yeah, I need to rewatch this.
Yeah, victimhood, attack, And listen, I cannot, and one of the things that I have been able to do, and I think that many of us that study course and different things is the idea, okay, we spotted, we got it. So if I see someone doing something, like let's say they're attacking me, maybe it's subtle, or maybe it's not a major thing, or maybe it's just I can, at this point now, I can just recognize a projection, and I go, well, that's not really mine. They're having an experience, and it really doesn't have anything to do with me. And I've gotten to the place where I'm pretty slippery for the most part. There are times when I get pretty triggered, but I'm able to see, okay, that's not my stuff. And it does feel a bit disconcerting when somebody is specifically saying, you are doing this to me, and there's really nothing happening,
Yeah.
So there's that part of it. But there have also been times where I have certainly outright attacked someone, and not physically, but either verbally or with my tone, or I could see where my anger was getting the better of me, or of having something on it, some kind of emotional charge. And so the one thing I've learned to do is see their innocence by recognizing that I have done what they have done in my past at some point. And so I can see them if I'm willing to offer my innocence to myself. Can I claim my own innocence? Because if I can offer them theirs too. So it might be a chicken or egg kind of deal, but ultimately we have, at some point, even if we're not really aware of it, if we're getting triggered or bumped up against by somebody else's consciousness in a way that's not pleasing, there was a time, perhaps, where we had that experience of doing that thing too, even though we may not know it.
Yeah. You're coming at me all wrong. It's wrong tone. You do it again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron. Let me ask, does your mother sew? Bam! Get her to sew that. It's an awful Christopher Walken impression from Joe Dirt. You said the tone, and I thought, Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
Wrong tone.
We just follow that thread.
Yeah, we break it up with some humor. Well, if you have ever, anything that you projected in the past is coming back to you. The Holy Spirit's bringing it back. Your dragon's bringing it back for atonement. And that's what unraveling is. It's atonement. It's your realization process. So anything you've ever projected is maybe not specifically, but energetically will be coming back to you for forgiveness, for atonement and realization. So if someone's doing something to you, it's because you've done it.
More than likely.
Guaranteed.
Or you would absolutely never do it. And so there's judgment about it.
Well, it doesn't have to be a projection.
It's finding
right.
their innocence, even though it's something you would never ever do.
Yeah.
And that needed to be explained to me specifically, because I was like, if I spotted, I got it, but there's murderers. I've never murdered.
When have I done it?
When have I done it?
When have I felt it, thought it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do. Go ahead.
So when, but even if but have I ever had a feeling or sense like, God, they would be better if they weren't here? No, I haven't murdered anyone, to my knowledge. I haven't murdered anyone, but have I had a murderous thought? Of course I have. And can I forgive myself for that? And if I can, then I can forgive someone who has had that kind of experience, or at least offer them their innocence. But that goes into a whole other ball of wax that I'm not even beginning to prepare myself to do at this point. So I'll just stop that there.
Murderous thoughts?
Murderous
only
thoughts?
Sometimes.
Only
Suicidal thoughts? Only in the morning. That's another movie quote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Judgment is a bitch. Maybe that's a new T-shirt.
Yes.
Because it comes back. It will come back. Any projection. Hell, there are so many judgments that we have about just our reality. They're not necessarily things we have on it.
Yeah.
But it's just a condition
Mhm.
is believing that I know what things mean and what things are for.
Mhm.
That's what we talk about. That's what we mean when that's what course means when it talks about not practicing not having an opinion about things. It's not just about trying to be a good person and don't judge people. We're familiar with those old axioms, but what it is radical responsibility. Practice not having an opinion at all, as much as you can, and withdrawing judgment from what you think something means or what you think something is for, which is right out of course. But instead, ask Holy Spirit to be your interpreter of these events for you. And if you remember to do it every day, especially in the morning when you wake up, you will start to notice changes in how you are perceiving things about your life. And you'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't have the same reaction to that, or somebody said yesterday or today, you know what, I did this and so-and-so responded differently to me. Yeah. So, I mean, all minds are joined,
Mhm.
So when you start practicing changes, other people who are enmeshed in your energy are also going to potentially have some changes too.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Yep. Hi, Gigi. Hi, Gigi.
Gigi.
She says, makes sense. Gigi is now a #1 best-selling author on Amazon. Woo!
Yay, Gigi!
Yay!
Congratulations.
Good job, girlfriend. For her book, Postcards to Myself. So go out there and check it out.
Woohoo!
Ginger says, congratulations. Yay. Awesome. One of the most touching things that I've ever seen in my whole life. And thanks for the plug. You got it, Gigi. And Patricia saying, congratulations. Yay. Thank you guys, all you guys, for being a supportive element and helping her book to become very successful. So you guys who are watching, you probably have gone out and gotten her book. So thank you for doing that. We really appreciate you. And Gigi appreciates you. And so I don't mean to be speaking for you, Gigi. I'm just assuming. Okay. The most touching thing that I've ever seen, ever, has been where a mother of a murdered child hugs and wipes the tears of her child's murderer. That is like next level shit.
That's something to aspire to.
That is something that I could not even begin to imagine. But there are different faiths out there as well that say, if you have killed my son, you have now become my son. And there's other ones where if you've killed my son, I cannot look upon you with anything but love, because there must have been something in you that needs healing for you to do something like that. That
sounds like an ascended master right there.
Yeah. I don't think I could do it. To
be that detached from events and not practicing opinion, not having judgment, allowing God to be the interpreter for you. That is
unconditional.
That woman has done some work on her ego.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's, yes. And if you go out to YouTube, you could probably search for it. There is, there is an example I'm specifically thinking about, but there might be more. And as a matter of fact, there was one recently, it was a little bit of a different situation where the brother of the murdered victim asked to hug his brother's murderer because he wasn't going to continue to carry any pain or hatred in his heart for her.
Wow.
And they ran to each other and hugged and embraced.
That's incredible.
Sobbing. Kira on the couch, sobbing.
That's incredible.
Yeah. That, if we can get there, if the world got there.
I mean, it's a personification of the things we've been talking about today, the entire hour.
An exact
We've been
example.
talking about pulling off a judgment, not practicing, having an opinion. And by the way, you know, some of the stuff you might be inclined, maybe not. Well, if you have issues of judgment and self-criticism, like has been a theme in my life, then this may sound like it applies to you. And that is, no matter what we're saying here, don't think of it, and this is a mistake I've made in my growth process in my life. Don't think of it in terms of, I have to get here in order to be good enough, or I have to be here in order to be worthy, or I have to be this spiritual in order to be respected or accepted by the tribe. That's getting back into ego, actually, believe it or not. So yes, you can learn things and practice things.
I'm going to do spirituality good.
Right.
I'm going to do it right.
Right. Well, it can get hairy because some people get on the new age spiritual bandwagon and just for social validation and just playing the white magic without taking on responsibility. So it's hard. So the point I'm making is, yes, we can learn and grow together and do these things, but always please remember that you are always enough. You are always good enough, and it's okay to be exactly where you are. Yes, I love to say, here's where we're going and let's all go together and here's how we get there. But it's never, ever, ever at the expense of not being totally lovable, worthy, and acceptable right now as you are, you know, and that is the foundation that moves us forward into a flow of loving unfoldment in our lives, you know. So yes, these things about the ego are fun, and these different ideas are exciting to practice, but be careful, you know, don't let the ego come in and weaponize those things to create more judgment. Well, I'm more spiritual than them because I know the ego better than they do. No.
It's a trick. It's a trap.
So there you go.
Good.
Love you, Ginger.
Love you, Gingy. Gigi says, thank you. Patricia says, thank you for saying that, Todd. I've spent a lot of my life chasing my tail, seeking perfection or good enough.
Yeah. That's why you're attracted to us, probably, Patricia.
Yeah.
You have similar issues, and we're here. We're here being in each other's classroom, helping each other evolve and grow.
Yeah, that's it. And I think doing it just right, doing it perfectly. Oh, that is the ego's favorite. I think that's one of the ego's favorite games to play, because it's like, but don't you want to be good enough? Don't you want to do it right? Don't you really want to follow through with blah, 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 blah?
Don't you want more followers?
Don't you want to do the thing? You know,
don't you want people to think that you're spiritual?
You don't want people to think you're a bad person, do you? You don't want people to think you're a bitch or whatever. And one of the best things that anybody ever told me, a coach of mine, John L., she said, bitch is lovable too.
Bitch is lovable too.
Bitch is lovable too. Every single, I'm like, but God, I was really a bit, really made to beat myself over the head for being that way. And she was like, bitch is lovable too. Yeah. And I every once in a while I have to remind myself, because that word discounts a lot of things, like upholding boundaries. Well, I'm a bitch for upholding my boundary. And it's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm loving myself and the other person by upholding my boundary. And so it's changing those limiting beliefs. It's shifting those mindsets, that and, perfectionism and all the things that we tell ourselves around being perfect and good enoughness and all of those things. Yeah. If we can dismantle them piece by piece, pull on all of those tentacles, then what we find is they're attached to the same body, and it's called the ego. And then we can learn gently, lovingly to begin to discount those things that simply are not and cannot be true about us and our lovableness.
True spiritual growth is about taking on, learning, recognizing, and taking on, learning the difference between what is true about you and what is false about you. And we're not responsible for love to fill in, because love is what we are, but we are responsible for taking on the fears because those are our creations, and dismantling them and taking on the ego. And we do make progress as we do that. The only time we don't make progress is if we run from it, is if we stay in behavior about it and we play the game of, trying to be social, do spiritual things for social validation, and then and still perpetuating the behaviors and things like that. But true spirituality is not a social thing. It is a internal thing only, and only after doing a lot of internal stuff might you truly be drawn to sharing that, kind of thing.
Patricia is following up. I've been equating it lately with peeking out from under the covers, afraid of the boogeymen, and then realizing they are under the covers with me, inside of me. Oh.
Yeah, they are. If I spot it, I got it. Right, Patricia.
But and they're not real. Just like the boogeyman. It's not real. It's not real. It only has the power in which we give it. And if we give it power, it'll continue to haunt us.
Yeah, fear needs to feed on you to work. It requires you. You need to give it attention in order for it to work. And when I say attention, I mean fighting it and thinking on it. That's how you put gas on the fear fire and keep your issues going. The opposite is going hard against the grain, right? With the fear stuff. So not thinking, not fighting, but yes, breathing and feeling it and allowing it to pass. That is dismantling it, right? That is undoing it. That is atoning it.
Yeah, good. Jana, no, I'm not. I think she was talking about the comment earlier. I didn't even have boundaries truly until after counseling. I was like, what? Once I had them, I just won't let them go. That's right. Good. Oh, well, if I lost relationships from it, you didn't lose a relationship you weren't meant to lose. If you suddenly are like, even if you all of a sudden out of nowhere, boom, I'm saying I am willing to do this and I'm not willing to do this. That's okay.
If you make a choice at any given time that truly feels right for you, in your heart that anything that comes or goes as a result is also right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Amen. Oh man, I could talk for another 3 hours.
Right?
So go ahead, settle in, guys. We're going for the long haul.
See, now you're talking like that.
Go ahead. Shake it out. Go get you a cup of coffee. Just go potty. We're going to be here for a
background while you're just working and going about your day. And, once you get off work today, maybe we'll end the show.
Can you imagine? Oh, God. I could imagine, but I would need a break. All right. Well, and all of this somehow relates back to hypnotherapieschool.net.
Oh, absolutely it does. Yeah, because you're taking on a level of responsibility that in such a way that you are willing to help others to come to their realizations with things. And you can also financially support your family.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Oh, look, Gigi, I'm getting paid while I'm listening.
Bam!
What's up?
Gigi knows how to leverage.
That's right.
Bam.
Jenica's good. She said, I got tea and cinnamon bread.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm going to go ahead and need to get some of that cinnamon bread.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that sounds pretty delicious to me too.
A lot of butter.
Oh, you want some cinnamon bread with that butter?
Jeez Louise. I'm gonna have to go get some waffles now.
Oh,
I need waffles.
I think we might have some.
Let's breathe a little bit. Let's have a couple breaths to close out our time here. Well done, y'all.
Well
Well
done,
done.
y'all.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking with us.
Thank you for participating
Thank
and
you for
sharing your
participating.
comments.
Thank you for your added energy. So even if folks are listening to this later, or you were on earlier, she said, Jenica says, just set notifications. Tell them to set them for when you come on. Thank you. We will. You guys set your notifications. Ding that bell or whatever you do, and you'll know when we come on. Yeah, thank you. And those of you who are listening later and those of you who are listening earlier, just know that this is all your energy. This is all you added to this experience. There's something probably in it for you. Maybe not the whole hour, but there might be that thing, just like my golden moment where somebody just said, wow, that's limiting. Coming to the realizations yourself in your own pace, in your own time.
And generally we do come on at 11:11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is our current time zone. Sometimes we're on Pacific, currently MST. And that's every day, Monday through Friday. We've been doing it 2 weeks in a row, I think.
Yeah. Today's the 16th.
And if you want to take this whether you want to start a business or not and help others or not, you can level up your self-empowerment and your self-responsibility to the next level by becoming a certified hypnotherapist. Because then you have an option to learn how the mind works, learn how to work on yourself, and level up in ways you cannot possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Hypnotherapyschool.net.
You got it. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Love you.